I have been looking everywhere for Teddy, and I come out here, and I'm pretty sure that he's passed out, because there's empty cans of dog brew by Bush everywhere. Are these empty too? You're drunk, aren't you?
Before we begin, make sure to hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon to get notified for more amazing pets content. With that being said, let's begin.
Mankind and alcohol have grown together in kinship throughout recorded history. Man has been consuming alcohol since long before the supposed birth of Jesus Christ, and the effect that alcohol has had on all facets of human history is genuinely significant. How significant? Well, how about the fact that the world's oldest known recipe is one for beer, or that the Star-Spangled Banner was actually written to the tune of an old drinking song? These are a pair of examples of how prominent and influential alcohol has been in human history. Interestingly, humans are not the only ones that consume, enjoy, and are affected by alcohol. That attribute extends to quite a few animal species as well. So humans are not the only creatures who enjoy the delights and the undesirable after effects, hangovers, of alcohol. What if we told you that bees have been excommunicated from the hive for flying under the influence of alcohol? How about birds going into alcohol rehab, or monkeys that get drunk and start fights with one another, akin to human bar brawls? Let's take a strange but fascinating look into 5 types of animals that get drunk in the wild. The nightcaps of the Pentailed tree shrew. The Pentailed tree shrew, a rodent of comparable size to common rats, resides in the Malaysian rainforests and has a serious attraction to consuming fermented palm nectar on a nightly basis, when for a couple of hours at a time, the shrew will engage in persistent consumption of the nectar, the alcoholic content of which is very similar to that of beer. While humans would consider this drinking habit deeply problematic, the shrews have done this for millennia on a very regular and consistent basis. This is so ingrained into their existence that throughout their evolution, the shrews do not even get drunk from the consumption of the nectar any longer. It is simply their normal way of existence. So how is it that they are able to do this seemingly without consequence? Scientists, citing found evidence, do not actually believe that the shrews feel the alcoholic effects of palm nectar consumption. It is thought that it's simply a way for them to consume the calories they need for survival, and that their bodies have evolved to a point of developing a metabolism that allows such consumption with minimal risk to their cardiovascular health. American bats can outdrink Egyptian bats. South and Central American bats have long been observed as consumers of fermented nectar and fruit, but it's believed that their alcohol consumption is not something that they actively feel afterward. Bats use echolocation, a type of built-in sonar, to navigate during flight due to their particularly awful vision. Experiments with bats with an alcohol content of 0.3% showed that it did not impede their ability to navigate through mazes and obstacle courses at all, nor did it affect their ability to communicate. In contrast, American law states that anything above a 0.08% blood alcohol level in humans is considered to be classified as legally drunk, and at 0.3% blood alcohol level, a human would be hardly able to speak or communicate effectively. Interestingly, the results of the very same experiments performed on bats from Egypt were quite different. While the bats are of the same basic breed as those in the Americas, they had a lot of trouble with obstacle courses with the same blood alcohol level as their American counterparts, crashing into objects far more frequently. Scientists believe that since Egyptian bats simply have fewer fermented fruits to consume, their alcohol tolerance is significantly weaker. However, this reason is hard to formally prove. What the scientific community does conclude in this regard is that the American bats have an evolutionary advantage due to their alcohol tolerance, because they can remain sober and alert even when consuming food untouched by other animals. The rehab of Bohemian waxwing birds. As the weather cools and berries on trees begin to ferment, the Bohemian waxwing birds tend to arrive and feast on them. It's believed that all of the birds who consume these berries feel the alcoholic effect of the fermentation. Only some eat to the point of being totally drunk. Most abandon the berries when they are just somewhat buzzed. Those that go over the alcohol consumption limit eventually fly off highly inebriated, which results in reckless flight where birds often crash into objects like buildings and trees, with many of those being fatal accidents. In one particular incident in 2014, several birds were found to be so blasted that they had to be taken to a Canadian animal healthcare and treatment centre in Yukon so that they could sober up by being kept away from the fermented berries. Not all birds could recover from their love for berry consumption, so some of them ended up in the Yukon Wildlife Preserve. The DUI offending bees. When it comes to driving infractions, a DUI is about as serious as it gets. In the bee community, flying under the influence turns out to be just as egregious in terms of accidents or risk of them. As bees drink fermented nectar, their flying becomes erratic and reckless. Sometimes they cannot even find their way back to their hive. Those that are lucky enough to find their way back are not lucky at all. When this happens, studies have found that other bees will obstruct their way from getting back into the hive until the drunk bee has had a chance to regain its sobriety. If the bee persists in trying to get in, it may even suffer attacks from its hive brethren for their attempts. When the inebriated bees are finally settled, they are often not permitted to continue flying around. The drunken monkeys of St. Kitts. Rum is a popular alcoholic drink of choice in the Caribbean region, but humans are not the only creatures that enjoy alcoholic stylings. On the island of St. Kitts lives a population of green vervet monkeys that are known for engaging in methods of acquiring and consuming alcohol. Before the rum industry matured into more streamlined production, monkeys would steal fermented sugarcane used for rum making. As the industry evolved, however, so did the monkeys' approach. St. Kitts is perpetually filled with tourists who are kicking back, relaxing and enjoying their rum-based drinks. However, these tourists don't always get to consume their drinks. The green vervet monkeys sneak up and steal their drinks for themselves from these unassuming tourists. Fascinating scientific studies have found that monkeys, much like us humans, vary in their drinking style. Mainly, the drinking types break down into 4 general groups of drinker types: social, steady, binge, and full-out drunks. Most monkeys drink socially, as they share the cocktails with their fellow monkeys, but never before a hearty lunch meal. The other groups are more seldom found, with 12% being steady drinkers, 5% bingers, and only a few who exceed even that. The binge-drinking 5% are known for consuming alcohol until they start stumbling around, vomiting, and even starting fights with fellow monkeys. This continues until their bodies give all the tolerance they can, and the monkey passes out to sleep off the effects. Other interesting aspects of the study reveal that juveniles drink far more than adult monkeys, and that all monkeys prefer fruity cocktails that mask and improve the taste of the alcohol that they consume.
Bringing you more value per minute than any other pets channel out there, or at least trying to. We would appreciate if you at least like or share this video. That would mean the world to us.